When I first learned about the music video of Zafarnamah, I thought I have to make a report about that, so so that other Iranians, other Persian speakers learn about it too. I thought it's a very authentic effort toward accessing the old culture and the forgotten part of the history. A lot of Iranians decided to give their comments about that. Some of my friends, some others sent me only their voices in Persian because they didn't want to speak in English. Actually, Zafarnamah of Guru Gobind Singh is not quite an accessed part of Indians and Iranians' common part of culture, but Dr. Sartaaj did something great, something amazing. Suddenly, this part of Indians and Iranians' common culture became accessible for regular people, for regular Iranians, Afghans, possibly Pakistanis, and so on, many other nations in this region of the world.
Why would an Indian, because Indian culture is very famous in Iran, especially with your music, your cinema. A lot of people have their childhood memories about related to Indian movies and singers. Why would an Indian singer be interested in Persian culture, Sufism, Sufi music, and learning Persian?
Actually, first of all, hi, very nice to talk to you, and it is very overwhelming. Like a Persian reporter is just, found us somewhere. Actually, I did my doctorate in Sufi music. So during that, I came to know about the Persian language and the culture because the Middle Eastern Sufism, and because I was researching about that. So that was my first kind of affection towards this language, because this language has a huge, a great connection with our land, especially Punjab. It's in the northern part of India, and there's a huge amount of literature written in this particular language. So, in the very initial stage, I was writing some, Persian share or singing some naat or call or kind of things. But this time, when I recorded Zafarnamah, it is the, I think, most profound cultural and literary element in our culture, particularly in Persian language. So it was never recorded before. So this is the very first time in the history of our culture and literature and music as well that I recorded Zafarnamah with the full length, the 111 shares from first to last with the translation.
In fact, Zafarnamah, that had been a genre of study for possibly for PhD students or for very literal people, suddenly became an obsession for some people to dig into the history and to see what it had been. Suddenly, through this music video, Zafarnamah became accessible for regular citizens, not only in India, also for Iran and many other countries around.
How challenging was it for you to learn Persian, and to what extent do people relate with Persian that you talk, or any kind of Persian that they can relate in their language or in their daily basis? Or I want to know what is that overlapping of the cultures that you're interested in.
Somehow, I would rather say, unfortunately, Persian language is not very much a part of our culture now, because before 150 years ago, it was somehow the Darbari Zuban, the actual official language of Maharaja Ranjit Singh in Lahore Darbar, when the Darbar was in Pakistan, Lahore. But after that, when Britishers, captured India, then English was the official language. Before that, it was Persian. So somehow it is not in our syllabus in schools or colleges, but some literary people still want to learn it. as I did a Persian diploma and certificate course, and I did a gold medal from Punjab University campus, Chandigarh. It is in the capital of Punjab region in northern India. So, but it is not enough. You are not very much fluent in it. You can't, go through the entire literature of Persian culture. But somehow I am trying to read or write or sing at least as much as I can. But I wish our people can be correlate or feel a connection, a strong connection towards this language, because we have a great connection in the history.
Through Zafarnamah, suddenly, as if forgotten history is revealed and decoded, the scattered parts and particles and pictures of the history form and became meaningful in a way to form a history, a historical story that potentially can engage a lot of people.
How did you first come across with Zafar? How did you find it first?
It is a very kind of a religious thing for us as Sikhs. We heard about from the very beginning. Look, from as you were a kid, you heard that there's a Zafarnamah in Zuban Farsi, but there was only some couplets or even a single line. Chukar az hama hil te dar guzasht halalas taburdan bashamshir dast. So, but it was never sang or recorded profoundly, completely. So this quarantine time, particularly when the coronavirus is capturing the entire globe, so I was going through the books and the literatures and so kind of things. So when I came through this again, then I just correlated it with this current scenario, because in that fragmented circumstances, Guru Gobind Singh Ji has written this. It was kind of a similar situation for planet Earth now. So I was trying to give a high spirit to the humanity, so they can feel like if they can write this kind of high spirited and positive thing in that particular matter and time, why can't we just survive and face this particular thing? So it is very correlative. And somehow on 13th of April, there is the most important festival of our culture and state, particularly Punjab. It is called Vaisakhi. So it is very correlative thing to release something on that particular and profound day.
I'm very impressed by the work of Satinder Sartaaj, because I know how important Zafarnamah is for him and for the people who speak his language, and by translating it and implementing it into a musical piece of art, he made it much more accessible and comprehensible for many people. And I also believe that the reason behind learning a new language is to get access to the treasures of this language and this culture. So if you're able to translate some of those treasures, you're actually sharing this knowledge and this wisdom with many more people.
And then the report was made about this. A lot of Iranians find themselves looking for that, and I even saw a video being subtitled by a total stranger, by someone, by a user, possibly an Afghan guy who wanted to make it more accessible to a lot of other Persian speakers.
Could you tell us a little bit more about Zafarnamah? What happened that the writer of Zafarnamah put it in share in chapter? And because usually the regular Iranians might not be very much into literature. Tell us a little more about Zafarnamah itself.
It is actually an epistle of victory. It is a letter written in 1705 from this very land called Punjab, where we are sitting now, and it was written to the Badshah of Hindustan at that time, to the Mughal Sultanate. Aurangzeb was his name, and it was some kind of the reminder of injustice he did towards Guru Gobind Singh Ji, and those false promises, and he broke those, and somehow it was kind of a reminder of true kind of self.
Hello, Mr. Sartaaj. My name is Sorena, and I watched your video, and I very much liked it. What I found noticeable about your poem was that it was very authentic Indian. As the Persian language reached India through Turkic and Mongolic dynasties, it developed into something else, something very different, something unintelligible for average Persians. And this was also noticeable in your work. This is also in the work that you translated as well. So I suggest that since it is unintelligible, it is difficult to understand for many Persians, you put subtitles for all your music videos. So average Persians that are not familiar with Indian variety of Persian language can understand it. One other thing was your accent. You have a very thick Indian accent, which is a very good thing. It is actually another thing that adds to the unintelligibility, to the fact that it is unintelligible. But this is actually something that makes your work very authentic and original, and you should not change it in any way, because this is the identity of the Indo-Persian literature, that it must be recited, the poem must be recited in an Indian accent.
Hello, this is Mary from Iran. I'm PhD student in English literature. I just want to talk about the work that I've heard recently as Zafarnamah, which is written in Persian verse, is about hope, regret, love, and other stories. Therefore, I would be really happy when I see that one of the non-Persian singers and artists paid attention towards my language, towards my culture, and make this possibility toward the other cultures be familiar with mine. I can't express my feelings towards to make the world as the whole, and I know that everyone belongs to this world and they are not alone.
Hello, Mr. Sartaaj. I'm Keikavous, Iranian musician. I play the Setar, traditional instrument, and I'm so glad to hear something in Farsi from someone from different culture, and it's so beautiful for me to hear the Zafarnamah poems.
I watched your video several times and I found it authentic, real, which is important, and honest, which is more important. So I didn't know about Zafarnamah, and I'm happy that I know about this, and in the first chance, if I can find it, I will read it. I understood it word by word, which is very important, and I am thinking that different accent enriches our language, Persian language. So.
Okay. It should have been a difficult work to put all of this heavy work all in 1 week. How did you do that?
So I have a great zeal to work what I am passionate about. So in this particular studio, a Nazim guy is called, I recorded the entire Zafarnamah 111 shares by my own self, and then sent to the music director, and it mixed and masters and shot somehow on the green screen in this particular time, but it went well. I think it came well.
Great. Thank you very much for your participation.
No
and
worries.
for agreeing our invitation.
Thank you very much, Faye. It's lovely talking to you. Thank you very much for the consideration. Khuda Hafiz.
Khuda Hafiz.
If Dr. Sartaaj had not made Zafarnamah into music, it would probably have remained unseen, or it was impossible for most Iranians to discover this part of the culture.